Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl AmandaEnsing, and today we are diving into all of the tea of the new Morphe Fluidity foundation. As with everything in the beauty community, this foundation has been talked about everywhere. There are a lot of opinions, just a lot going on right now, so let's just dive right into it. If you didn't know, I am a face of this campaign. I represent the shade 2 range, and we filmed this back last summer, and it's when I had blonde hair. I had to keep this secret for so long, like so long. Even though I was part of the campaign, this video is not sponsored. This review is 100% honest. I'm gonna tell you guys how I feel, give you a lot of information about the product, and then you can try it, and then you can decide for yourself whether it is something you want to pick up. I totally understand that when it comes to beauty, people are gonna have a lot of opinions. That's how it is. However, I feel like the last few months, it has just been like insane. Like it's just so much negativity all the time with any product. Like I will literally see any product launch and it's hundreds of just negative comments, which is definitely something I hope that changes this year. Probably won't. I feel like everyone is ready to just tear down a product as soon as it comes out. And makeup is supposed to be fun. And one thing to keep in mind is not every product is gonna work for everyone. That's just the truth. I might love a product that you hate, and I might hate a product that you love. So that's the thing I used to love about the beauty community, is that we could all sit down and share our favorite products. And if we didn't like it, people were at least respectful. But I don't know, I just feel like it's been a lot. If you don't follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, then you probably didn't see me open the Morphe PR box. You guys, that's me. Oh my God, I'm like, this is so unreal right now, you guys. And when they asked me to be a part of this, I was like, all right, I need details. Like, give me everything so I can decide if this is something that I want to be a part of. I have been supporting Morphe since the beginning. I try not to push my code down your guys' throats. I always let you know that I have a code with Morphe, but as I do with any affiliates, I don't really have that many affiliates anymore. It's just not something I feel comfortable promoting all of the time because I never want to come off disingenuine. So when they asked me to do this, I was very excited. We had a few meetings before I agreed to be a part of this campaign, and I actually got to try out a sample of the foundation before I agreed to be a part of this campaign. One of the biggest selling points to me in deciding if I was going to be a part of this was the shade range. They had told me that there was going to be 60 different shades. Last year was huge for the beauty community. I feel like a lot of people were starting to wake up and starting to realize that it's been an issue for a long time that there aren't a huge range of shades for a lot of brands. Me in particular, like within the last couple of years, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a huge issue. And before, like a couple of years ago, this wasn't something that was on my radar because I've never had to struggle finding my shade. And so once the conversation got going, I feel like the beauty community started to take a step in the right direction for trying to include everyone. When Morphe told me about this project, I was super excited. Like I was excited to be a part of a campaign having 60 different shades. I thought that that was incredible, especially for a foundation that's gonna be at a drugstore, a more affordable price than a high-end foundation. And I love a lot of Morphe products. I love their brushes, I love their eyeshadow palettes. They have a lot of products that I really like. So I tried the sample and I loved the foundation. I wore it a few times and I was like, okay, I'm in. So I am shade range 2. Now, right now I'm not self-tanned at all, but even if I am self-tanned, I am still in the number 2 shade range. This is a little pamphlet that came inside of the box. It says, value your hue. And look, it's me. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It doesn't even look like me because I have blonde hair there, but I promise it is ya girl. Funny story, I was like, damn, this skirt feels like Chanel or something. It was a Chanel skirt. I found out when I took it off. Yeah, I was like, what? Okay, last picture. There's me. Ooh, I cannot wait, you guys. I'm gonna be in all the Morphe stores. Like, I'm gonna start bawling my eyes out. Like, you don't understand. Like, I've never done collabs. I've never done anything like this before. So this is a huge moment for me, okay? I'm really excited. Like, A-Team, we did that. This is a huge launch. They have foundation, concealer, powder, and a brush set, and primers. It's a very big launch. This is the Fluidity foundation. It comes in 60 different shades and it is $18. Now it is more expensive than a traditional drugstore foundation, but it's still lower than a high-end foundation. I feel like usually they start around $30 price point. So it is a little bit expensive for Morphe. However, it is made in the USA. I saw so many comments of people saying like, oh, it's made in China, it's gonna break you out, blah, blah, blah. I believe Morphe does get some of their products made in China. However, the foundation is not. It is made in the USA. I believe it's the same for the concealers and the primers as well. Then they also came out with a concealer that is 31 shades. It looks like this and it retails for $9. There are two different primers and these retail for $12. There's more of a blurring primer and then a hydrating primer, which is the one I'm gonna use today. They also came out with 15 different setting powders. I have a darker one because I'm going to use it to contour today and try it out. I really wish they would have came out with a translucent or like a loose powder in different shades. That's definitely what I gravitate towards. I don't really use pressed powders that much, but I will try this to contour today. Last but not least, they have a brush and sponge trio. You get 2 brushes and a sponge. I haven't tried this out. I did wet it in case I decided to use it. The M439 is one of my favorite foundation brushes. I love it. And then this little precision brush. And this trio is $19 for 3 different tools. This foundation is a full coverage matte foundation. It is a 24-hour wear, it is water resistant, and it is oil free. It's also sweat proof, not that you want to work out in it, but if you're like at school or you need something like you're going to be out in the sun, it is sweat proof, water resistant, so it's going to be good for that. But it is a full coverage matte foundation. I have more normal to dry skin, so I want to show you guys how I use it and how I apply it. I feel like everyone loves a matte full coverage foundation. I used to swear by full coverage matte foundations like this back when I was more on the oily side. But like I've said a million times, ever since I moved to the West Coast, there's not a lot of humidity at all here. So my skin has become more normal to dry in the colder months. Class is now in session. I'm getting this framed, you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm getting this framed. I look so good here. I wish I looked that good right now. My body was looking good there. I feel like I'm still carrying a little bit of weight from holidays, to be honest. All right, the reason I pulled this out is to show you the shade guide. The foundation comes in 4 different undertones. You have warm, neutral, olive, and cool toned. A lot of brands only have warm or cool, which is like more orange or more pink. If you're lucky, a brand will have neutral. If you're really, really, really lucky, a brand will have olive. Olive, I feel like, is one of the most left out shade ranges in a lot of different brands. I have seen people talk about this foundation saying like, oh, all the undertones are off or they're too orange, blah, blah, blah. Being really real, the same people I've seen talking bad about this foundation will use brands when all of their foundations are orange or they're all yellow. So I feel like when I see certain people review stuff, I'm like, you literally use orange foundation every single day and now you're hating on something that looks way better. Anyways, that's a talk for another day. I like to think that I'm a foundation chameleon. I feel like I can wear a lot of different shades, which you're probably like, bitch, how? I don't know, but I feel like there's usually a couple shades that I'll use for like my shade. It really depends on how my skin's looking that day. I'm half Puerto Rican and I feel like I got a lot of olive from my mom, but my dad is more neutral undertone. So I feel like I kind of go back and forth between either a more neutral or a more olive foundation. Picking your undertone can be one of the hardest things when you're finding a foundation to match. They do have a quiz, so you can take the quiz and it'll help and suggest what tone you could be. Okay, class in session. So let's say that I am a 2.4 neutral right here, okay? If this is too dark, you can't just go to the next shade. The next shade is a 2.3, which is a warm undertone. That's not gonna work for me. You need to go to the next neutral, which is 2.2. So then I would swatch 2.2 and see if that works. All right, so I tried to pack in as much information as I could. Hope you guys took notes. And let's just get into it. Let's just start the process and start the makeup and let's see how everything turns out. Before shooting the campaign, the only thing I got to try a sample of was the foundation. I did not get to try the concealers or the powders before the campaign shoot. We're gonna be diving into it today. I'm gonna pretend like this is all brand new for me and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts and opinions and you're gonna see it live in action. Ignore my lip, it's still bruised because I had to get it touched up. I did vlog, so hopefully that vlog will make it to my channel, but I have been vlogging. And if you're having a bad day, this is an Ensing shirt, so are you living right now? Ensing is the best of all time. P.S. I'm still sick. If you've been following me on Instagram or Snapchat, I've been giving you guys daily updates, but I've been sick Friday, Saturday. I've been sick for like 5 days now. I finally went to the doctor yesterday because I couldn't move my neck and I was a little bit scared. Today is like my first day on medicine, I guess, and I feel amazing. And I was like, I'm filming today. So if I sound weird, that's why. So I'm gonna use the Revitalizer Primer looks like this. It does look a little bit smaller than the foundation, and you get 0.67 fluid ounces, which is less than the foundation because in the foundation you get 1. This says it blurs, softens imperfections, and makes your skin feel more moisturized. So I am going to put this on a brush, and I'm just going to put it all over the skin. It doesn't have much of a smell. It's kind of like a primer smell, I guess. Nothing stands out. Definitely feels hydrating. It feels cool on the skin. Honestly, I missed you guys so much, by the way. Did you guys miss me? I missed you guys so much. It's so weird not filming for so long because it was Christmas and I went hard on 5 days of glam, and then I was only filming a few Instagram videos, and then I got sick because I still haven't filmed my 2018 favorites. Is it too late for me to film it? Or should I still film it? Like I said earlier, I'm more normal to dry. A lot of the times I apply a beauty oil on my skin first and then foundation. You guys have seen me do it a million different times. However, I think today I'm gonna mix the oil in the foundation on this little palette just because this foundation consistency reminds me a lot of the Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo foundation, which is very thick, very high coverage, kind of like Estee Lauder Double Wear Family, just thicker in consistency. So the two shades that I go in between are 2.5, this is an olive shade, and 2.2, which is a neutral shade. I think I'm gonna use 2.2 today just because it's the lighter one. I feel like when I have a little bit more color, the olive one is just so great, but I will swatch it on the back of my hand for you guys so you can see the olive undertone in it. I think it's so nice. And if you have olive skin, you understand that it can be hard to find a foundation. So this is the one I'm going to use today. This is 2.2, and this is the olive one. You can see it has more of a green undertone. This sponge feels a lot softer than the other Morphe sponge that I use a lot. This one right here, I'm not crazy about the sponge in general, but I love this side for baking. I think that for baking, this sponge is everything, but for blending out, I think it's kind of stiff, but this one feels so much softer. Like I'm feeling like, I don't know, it just feels so much softer. So I'm gonna use this little palette and I'm gonna mix the foundation in 2.2, so just about a dime amount. And I'm only gonna put a few drops of this in the foundation just because I like a really hydrating foundation. It's not really fair for me to just apply this on my skin, especially if I'm feeling more dry, and expect it to work because I have drier skin. So if you have dry skin and you just apply this without moisturizing and making sure that you're hydrated, it's not gonna work for you. It's gonna emphasize your dry patches and you're gonna hate it. Do you see how beautiful it looks? I think this foundation is so pretty. It does smell kind of like paint. Like the smell is exactly like Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo foundation. So I know some people were complaining about the smell. I totally get it. I don't like the smell of Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo foundation either, but I still wore it for like a year whenever it first came out back in the day because I was very oily and I loved it. Again, I'm just pressing this onto the skin. I kind of try to do half my face so I could show you the difference. I never put foundation under my eyes. I just don't like to, but I did put a little bit just so you can see the coverage. But this is the right side versus the left side. I have like some breakouts, some redness, some discoloration. I mean, there is a clear difference here, you know what I'm saying? All right, I'm gonna switch to the Morphe sponge for the other side of my face. Let's see how it works. I don't like this as much as my beauty blender, I'll tell you that. It just feels weird because it's flat. Maybe it just takes some getting used to. Like I'm so used to using the egg that the flat side feels so weird. All right, this is one layer. And I'll tell you right now, before the foundation ever even sets, none of my pores look emphasized. It doesn't look drying on my skin because I prepped my skin. I used a moisturizer before, and then I used the revitalizing primer, and then I used the beauty oil mixed in the foundation. And you might think, Amanda, that seems like a lot of work, but I am like this with every product that I use. Like I want to make the product work for my skin. If this is too much for you, if you don't want to use like a beauty oil, if you're dry, or if you don't want to, you know, prep your skin first, then I would say it's not going to work for you. But I always use beauty oils, even when as far as the primer, it felt really nice on the skin. Again, this is another product I need to try more. It's really hard to find a primer to where the first time you use it, you notice a huge difference. I've only had a couple primers ever do that to me, like in my whole experience using makeup, but it's definitely something that I will try again because I love a hydrating primer. I use hydrating foundations because I love my skin to look more dewy, and like this foundation is flawless. Like it is actually flawless. So I use the shade 2.2. So for the concealer, I pulled 2.15 and 1.65. So these are in different numbers. So since I'm 2.2, if you want to go one step lighter, you could do the 2.15. However, I do like my concealers to be a little bit lighter in general. So I also pulled the 1.65, which is the darkest out of the one category. This, I don't know if it's going to be light enough for my preference, so I might mix them both together, but I'm going to start by trying the 2.15. And the applicator looks like this, the little fluffy doe foot applicator. And I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. It's definitely one shade lighter. I think I'm going to mix a little bit of the 1.65 as well. So I'll apply this first. Also on my eyelids as well. I haven't played with this, and I don't know if this is gonna dry fast or not. For the shoot, we had our makeup done, so I'm just gonna layer some of this lighter one. And I'm gonna use my beauty blender to blend it all out. I mean, it looks, wow, a lot of coverage, like a lot. I definitely think that it's drying kind of fast, but it is a lot of coverage. So I'm trying to work kind of fast. All right, I'm gonna take my Laura Mercier powder to set the under eye. I mean, usually I have to set like my chin and other areas, but my skin is pretty matte right now, so I'm really only setting my under eye area because everything else is like pretty matte, which is awesome. I don't have to set anything else. I'm gonna go ahead and dust off the excess powder. I have a feeling this is not gonna budge or move. Like, this is full coverage. I'm gonna take a Morphe R7, and I'm using the Morphe powder in the shade Filter 11. And this is what the color looks like. So it's a darker setting powder. Oh, and these do come with a little sponge. It says Morphe on it. These kind of sponges are cool if you just wanna touch up and you're oily throughout the day, but I don't use them. Honestly, I don't know if this powder is doing it for me. I feel like contouring anyways, it's a little bit hard to blend. Like wherever I place it, it's just kind of staying there. And I use foundation powders for contour all the time, but I don't think this is it. I don't know, I don't really like that much. Like, it looks kind of patchy. I'm gonna finish the rest of my face off camera, and I will be right back with my final thoughts. All right, you guys, so my makeup is complete now. Here is the final look with everything on. What do we think? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks fresh, flawless? Full coverage, let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna do an up close of the foundation just so you guys can see what it looks like up close, like closer up. I have a zoom lens on my camera right now so I can show you. So this is what my skin looks like up close. You can see my smile lines were emphasized a little bit, but everything else looks so flawless. To be a full coverage matte, I think it looks so flawless and so freaking good right now. Like, I feel like my skin looks so beautiful. So final thoughts are, I think it's very full coverage. There are no oils showing through on my skin, and I only baked underneath of my eyes, my nose, and right here on my chin. And my skin looks so matte, like so matte, but it doesn't look dry, and it didn't emphasize any dry patches on my skin. If you have dry skin, you wanna make sure you're exfoliating a couple of times a week to get any dry patches or any dead skin off of the surface. So that way, any foundation you use is going to lay nicely. Side note, I have been sick for a couple of days and my skin is feeling a little bit drier, like around my nose area and stuff, and I haven't been the best with keeping up with my skincare. I've been blowing my nose all day for the past like 5 days, so it's been really red, and my skin looks really great with the foundation. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the price point was a little bit high for Morphe products. However, since it's made in the US, I can definitely justify it a little bit more since it is made here versus made in China, but it's still not as pricey as a high-end or Sephora foundation, which usually they start around $30. Another thing I want to touch on is the shade range. There are 60 different shades, but did they do it right? You know, you could have 60 different shades and still not have enough shades for a certain skin tone. I think Morphe evenly distributed the tones really fairly. There's the same number in every single category, 1 through 5. However, I have seen people talking about the undertones, saying that the darker undertones are off, or they look gray, or they look weird. And personally, I can't review that because those aren't my skin tones, so I definitely think time will tell. I'll definitely be following reviews online as people review it on YouTube and on Instagram, and even as customers get to buy it, you know, that's gonna be the true test when women and men of color get to review these darker colors that wear those shades. In my opinion, the people that this foundation is going to work the best for are people who have normal to oily skin, or you just really love a full coverage matte foundation. Me personally, since I'm more normal to dry, this isn't something that I would wear every single day. dry. I would wear this for more special occasions when I want to be like fully airbrushed, fully everything covered. And you can definitely wear this if you're normal to dry, if you prep your skin, you moisturize your skin, and I would definitely recommend using an oil, like a beauty oil, to mix in with this foundation or apply to your skin first. So that way it hydrates the foundation a little bit more and it hydrates your skin a little bit more, because if I would have applied this without anything, without moisturizing and hydrating my skin, it probably would have looked a little bit cakey on me. But I don't use those kind of foundations on the regular anyway. If you are normal to oily, you are going to fall in love with this foundation because it is super matte. The coverage on this foundation is no joke. You probably heard me say it like a million times, but it is a full coverage foundation with one layer. Foundation is very personal. You know, there are foundations that are great for oily skin, great for dry skin. There are very few foundations, in my opinion, that really are like hardcore gonna work for every kind of skin type. And even when I've come across foundations that I'm like, oh, this will work for anyone, I still think there are steps in between to prep your skin and to set your skin to make that foundation work for your skin type. Now on to the concealer. This is something I need to play with more. I do think it looks beautiful on the skin, but it is very thick and it dries very fast. This concealer is also very matte. It's not hydrating. You know, you have those very thin hydrating concealers, even like a Tarte Tape Shape or a Too Faced Born This Way. I think those are way more hydrating than this. This is a thicker consistency and it's a very full coverage. So it's definitely something that if you like full coverage, thicker concealers, you're gonna love it. I think it would be really great for spot concealing because of the coverage, but this isn't something that I would grab every single day because I do prefer a more hydrating concealer. Now, is it a bad concealer? Absolutely not. I think it's really great. There was very minimal creasing. However, it's a little bit thick and it's a little bit drier for the texture that I prefer in a concealer. As far as the sponge, it's something that takes getting used to because I'm not used to a flat sponge, but it did blend out the foundation really nicely. It just felt weird because I'm used to the round. Now these brushes I love these two brushes. As far as the primer, it felt really nice on the skin. Again, this is another product I need to try more. It's really hard to find a primer to where the first time you use it, you notice a huge difference. I've only had a couple primers ever do that to me, like in my whole experience using makeup, but it's definitely something that I will try again because I love a hydrating primer. Last but not least, the powder. I feel like I can't give an accurate review because I didn't use it as a face powder, but as far as bronzing, it was not it for me at all. I just feel like it was too patchy on my skin. And again, this isn't meant to be a bronzer, but I use face powders for bronzers all the time, but this isn't something that I would use again to bronze with. I just feel like it didn't set on the skin nice and it looked kind of patchy. I don't use pressed powders anyways in my daily makeup routine. I never use them. So for me, this really wasn't something I was that interested in, but I wanted to try it so I could at least show it to you guys. But that's not something I use anyways. I always use translucent powders to bake and then I'm good to go. This concludes my Morphe Fluidity Foundation review. I hope you guys found it helpful. I feel like I've been talking for so long, so hopefully this video isn't too long, but let me know down in the comments, what do you think of everything going on with the foundation? What do you think of the reviews? What do you think of how it looks on my face? Is it something you're gonna try? Let me know. If you guys do end up trying it, you can always use my discount code, which is Amanda. You can use it in store or online. I would really appreciate it if you do use my code, if you end up getting it. If not, let me know if you guys aren't gonna pick it up. I'm really interested to know. Thank you for all the support on this whole campaign and everything. You guys were so sweet on my picture I posted with the campaign photo, and this is huge for me, you know, just even being able to be a part of something like this, of a brand that I love. So it's definitely a big moment in my career, and it's only because of you guys and because you guys come back and watch my content. So I'm forever grateful to you guys. So thank you for that. Let me know down below if I should do 2018 favorites or if it's too late. And yeah, I hope you guys loved the video. Thumbs it up if you did. Hit subscribe if you have not already joined my A team. I love you guys so, so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, guys.